Hi, good afternoon. I'm Dina D'Ambrosi from Delicious and Light, and tonight we're going to do a low-fat version of an Italian classic. We're going to be making a chicken cacciatore tonight, and this is a super easy recipe to make light because the basic ingredients are chicken breast and a lot of fresh vegetables. So just to run through the ingredients, we are starting with 2 pounds of chicken, bone in, but I de-skinned it. Then we have 1 onion chopped and 2 stalks celery chopped. We're going to use a 1/4 cup of chicken broth. Usually that is fat-free, and you just want to make sure that it is fat-free. I checked the carton on that. We have a 1/2 cup of cream sherry, 1 cup of white wine, 1 teaspoon of oregano, dried oregano, 1 teaspoon of onion powder, and a 1/4 teaspoon of red pepper flakes to give it a little heat. We have about 2 tablespoons of fresh Italian parsley chopped, 1 can of diced tomatoes, and we also have 1 garlic clove that I have ready to go for when I saute that. So what I like to do, as you can see, is oftentimes when I start any kind of dish, I like to have all the ingredients ready and I just chop and that type of thing. This way I don't forget any ingredients, because in the past I haven't been as prepared and I'll forget ingredients. Before we go any further, I just want to give a big shout out to Apex Nova. Apex Nova is sponsoring this meal tonight, and just want to thank those folks from Apex Nova. They provide the 2-week leadership and event-based fundraising program for elementary schools. They put the fun in fundraising. The kids have an absolute blast during those 2 weeks, and the school makes money as well. It's a win-win. So getting on to the recipe, what you want to do is just lightly salt and pepper your chicken on both sides. And we'll get our pan heated. Wrong burner. Let's not burn down the house. All right. So while the pan is heating, just flip these chicken breasts over. Sometimes it's hard to find in the grocery store bone-in chicken breasts, but if you buy a whole cut-up chicken, you could do that. That's easy to find. And then you can just save the thighs, the legs, and the wings for another kind of recipe. The thighs, the legs, and the wings have a little more fat in them. That's why I like to make my chicken cacciatore with the chicken breast only. So I've sprayed a little cooking spray in there. I'm going to turn up the heat, and all we're going to do to the chicken right now is just brown it. We are not cooking it. We're just going to give it a nice brown. So I'm going to put the chicken in the pot. And we're going to let that fry up for about 2 minutes on each side, 2 minutes or so, until it's got a nice brown on it. Then I'll flip it over and we'll brown it on the other side. Alright, so this chicken has been browning on one side. I flipped it over, and now it's browned for a couple minutes on the other side. So I'm just going to put it in a bowl. As you can see, it's lightly browned, but it is not cooked. And that's how you want it, because it's actually going to stew for a little while in the sauce when we make that. So the next thing you want to do is take your onion and celery, add that to the pot, saute that for a couple minutes. I like to cover it to get the juices out, and it also prevents burning. So you just want to saute that for 2 to 3 minutes. Alright, so this has been simmering for a couple minutes now, and the onion is lightly browned, and we're going to just try to do a shot of that. So that's what it'll look like, lightly browned. From there, what we want to do is add a clove of garlic. Now look, this is where the fun starts. If you like garlic and you know your family likes garlic, by all means add 2-3 cloves. If you're a little shy of the garlic, then keep it to 1. If your family doesn't like garlic at all, then you can keep it out. But most people like the garlic. It adds a nice richness to the dish. So now the garlic only sautés for a minute or less because you don't want it to burn, otherwise it gets bitter. And then at this point you just want to add about a 1/4 cup of chicken broth And that's going to add moisture back to your vegetables, and it's also going to help them cook a bit. And you just want to reduce that liquid for a couple minutes until you have almost no liquid done in the pot. All right, almost all the liquid's gone in the pot now. And what you'll see is the vegetables are still moist, but the liquid is gone. So from there, keep your heat on high at this point, and you want to add your 1/4 cup of sherry and your 1 cup of white wine, and let that simmer, because what that's going to do, it's going to add a lot of sweetness to the dish. So you want that to cook out. You want the alcohol to cook out until we finish off the sauce from here. So we're just going to let this boil for a couple minutes. This is a great dish, even though it's 100 degrees outside today. We're going to be eating inside, and this is a nice hearty dish that's low cal, low fat, which is perfect. This is also low carb friendly as well. Now you can serve this with pasta on the side, or you can serve it with rice on the side as well. But we're gonna do it just as is, because we are actually doing low carb at this point. So we're gonna let this simmer up. All right, so it's been about 3 to 5 minutes, and the alcohol has burned off in the sauce. So now we're gonna finish off the sauce with a can of diced tomatoes, and this is 28-ounce can. And now we're going to add our spices. So this is the oregano, the red pepper, and the onion powder. Fresh parsley. We're going to stir that around, and we're going to taste this, because at this point we want to see if we need any additional salt or pepper. Let's see how this is doing. All right, a little more salt, a little more pepper. All right, and then also my family likes rosemary, so we're going to put a little rosemary in there as well. You just want to go and shred it by pulling it off the opposite direction to which it's growing. If your family does not like rosemary, they don't have to add that woody flavor to it. Just makes it very earthy. You can use basil, that'll make it a sweeter sauce. And you just want to chop the rosemary pretty fine, because you don't want anybody biting into a thick rosemary sprig there. And also, if you mince it or chop it real fine, it helps release the oils, and you get more flavor. So we're just going to add that to the pot, and we're coming to a nice boil here, I see. And then from here, all you do is add the chicken back in your pot. Like this. And at this point, we want to bring it to a simmer. So I'm going to put it on the simmer stove. And we're going to let that simmer for about 20 minutes. Once 20 minutes has gone by and your chicken is fully cooked, you are ready to serve. All right, so the chicken cacciatore has been simmering for about 20 minutes now, and it is done. If you want to get a look in there, I can tilt that for you. So it is nice and juicy. We're going to bring that into over here and get a spoon. Let's get a big spoon to serve this up right here. And while the chicken was cooking, what I did was I just made a real simple salad. Not a big deal. I just took romaine lettuce, cucumbers, red onion, and a little bit of green Italian olives for a basic Italian salad. Just chop that up and put that in there. You know, it's worth noting that you can make this chicken cacciatore super easy in a crock pot. All you got to do is brown the chicken as you had seen before, brown the onions and the celery, add the wines that I talked about, and at that point transfer everything to a crock pot and let it cook for about 3 to 4 hours on high or 6 hours on low. You know, if you're going to work and you can't wait 20 minutes for it to simmer, by all means use the crock pot, it's your friend. So now we've got the sauce I just want to transfer over. Let me get this so I don't end up with third-degree burns. Pour the sauce on top. And like I said, if you want, you could serve this with steamed rice or pasta. And you know what you can get too is they sell frozen cauliflower that's riced. So if you're on doing the low carb thing, you could do that with this as well. And there we go. It's time to eat. Manja. Have a great night. Thank you.